In today's episode of Hotlaps, we're going to be throwing it back a few years, and we're going to be running the GP2 that started in 2011 all the way up to 2017. We've done the current spec of Formula 2 car. We're going to throw it back a little bit to this absolute animal, which led Pierre Gasly, Charles Leclerc, many more other drivers to their world championships. I'm interested to see how close it is to the current gen of Formula 2 car and roughly whereabouts it sits. Is it quicker than the Le Mans hybrids? Let's have a little look at the car and find out. So the first thing you notice when you look at this car is how skinny the rear wing is. So when this was introduced in 2011, obviously it was modelled on the 2009 regulations for the F1 cars, and they've kind of followed that theme. But this one, growing up watching Charles Leclerc race this in the final season, watching Pierre Gasly win his world championship against Giovinazzi in 2016, renaming the series to F2, and then this being the first ever chassis they run in the series. As you can tell by looking at the screen now, you can see we are using Pierre Gasly's 2016 championship winning livery, and obviously this is a Prema livery. This was their first ever year in GP2 / Formula 2. It's just a cool car. It's very bare bones compared to what we have now. I'm super interested to see how close this is to the current Formula 2 car, but let's take it to track. So this is something I'm so excited for. I absolutely adore the old GP2 car before it was replaced by F2. It's not just the skin, obviously a big fan of the skin, but this is what F2 GP2 is to me. Like, this is what I envision with Gasly in it, Leclerc in it, and even predecessing all the way back. I remember Gutierrez racing at Valencia, somehow winning in what was obviously at the time a Lotus Renault livery. It's got a special place for me, so I'm hoping this car can, climb itself up the leaderboards a little bit. I'm interested to see how high it can get. Let's climb our way out, and then we can give the sound of the car a little go. I can already tell it's going to sound unreal. Oh, I love this car already. That sounds mighty. It has got a bucket load of understeer, which is fine. I wouldn't expect anything different. The sound alone is worth the purchase. 110%. Oh, big snap, big snap, big snap. Avoid the gravel. Oh, this is going to take some getting used to. But I'm here for this. I'm absolutely here for the challenge this is going to give me. A lot of people may not be too familiar with GP2, obviously more familiar with what is now F2. But it was like the pinnacle junior formula, realistically, right? Obviously, you had like Euro F3, which was really good. GP2 was just carnage. It was so good for an entertainment factor and the drivers. Whoa! I must have locked the rears there. Like 2016 and 2017 had some unreal grids. If you look to see what they've gone on and done now, the likes of Artem Markelov, who was like a mainstay in GP2 Formula 2. Raffaele Marcello is now a GT driver, forming at Mercedes, now at BMW. Obviously, you've got... Oh, held it. All good. You've got Mitch Evans, who's almost a Formula E world champion. Sergei Sorokin, Matsushita, Latifi was another one that obviously came through the ranks. Sean Galeo, we've got a few attempts into Formula 1 via practice sessions, almost somehow got into the Toro Rosso scene. Louis Delatraz transitioned now into LMP. You've got Giovinazzi, obviously teammate Gasly in the 16. Giovinazzi just missed out on the title. Obviously, Gasly won. Both found their way into F1. You could argue, obviously, one's had more successful of a career than the other. But then look at what Giovinazzi's gone to do. He just won Le Mans a year ago. Ollie Rowland, Formula E driver. That's just for 2016. There's so many more. I think Nick debuted in 2017. Obviously, Nick was a Formula E world champion. Granted, he didn't do well in F1, but the grids were stacked, the racing was great. You would have so much carnage in a race. Like, by today's standards, it's quite tame compared to what GP2 was like back in the day. The hairpin sucks. I really don't like this hairpin. So like 2016 was mental, like 2017 was just as good. You had Fuoco, who just this year won Le Mans with Ferrari, so no surprise there realistically. Alex Palou raced for Campos back then. Now look at him, he's like IndyCar's best driver at the moment. At that stage it was technically Formula 2, it was the first year it was Formula 2, but it was still this car. So the transition was quite interesting. Callum Ilott obviously went on to do well Santino Ferrucci, less said about him, the better. And like there were some drivers that just stuck around in GP2 Formula 2 for so long. Like, they became part of the furniture. I mean, Sean Gallow's one of those people. Like, he was in GP2 and F2 for so many seasons, struggling to keep his car on the island. Really just stayed there because it was a lot cheaper, I imagine, back then as well. The rears lock up so easily. For the hot lap, I'm going to have to obviously correct that. Struggling so much to keep this car in a straight line. Once you get it nailed, I'm sure it's beautiful. But I'm so not there yet. So not there. It's one of those ones where I want to get it to work. I can't do the hairpin. Just can't do it. This section I'm a little bit more comfortable in because it's not that slow speed. Getting it pointed in. Like, it's quite pointy on the front end at medium speed, let's say. There's nothing high speed about this car around that section. We survived the final corner. So that's good. We're making slow progress. It's just a hairpin. Turn one's fine. Touch the sausage curb a little bit. It's just up here. Fair play to Charles and Pierre. Been in the last 2 champions. But regardless of the difficulties I'm having, it's still quite fun. It's like a very small operating window I've got to work in to kind of maximise what I've got quite a small window that I'm operating in where I'm just about on the edge of grip apart from everywhere else. Mid corners has actually got quite a bit more grip than I expected to. It's definitely going to struggle with straight line speed. I reckon it will hold its own. Realistically, I'm expecting to be off the current F2 car by a fair bit, but while I bang my head against the steering wheel trying to get this car to do what I want it to do, let's cut ahead to the hot lap. So there we have it, the GP2 from 2011-2016 set a 1:15.906. It's not massively far away from the current gen of Formula 2 car, which is quite interesting given the many generations, iterations we've had between. You know, I said in the video how hard this car was to use at slow speed corners, and I did struggle with that a bit. I set this lap relatively early on and I just couldn't improve off of it. You can definitely get more lap time out of it in comparison to the IRL lap times. It's way off. Normally all these times are accurate there or thereabouts, but this is the first car that's really been down on pace. It's really cool to drive. I really enjoyed it, and it'll be interesting to see where the other generations of F2 cars, like the F2 2018 car, will fit in possibly between these, maybe be a bit quicker. If you have enjoyed the video, guys, please do like and make sure to subscribe. If you want to see a specific car, drop a comment below and I'll get that, put a lap time round in, see where it ends up on the leaderboard. Until then, guys, take care. Bye.